Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and this is another edition of No Capes, where I talk about comic books that don't have to do with superheroes, and Ethan either doesn't read them or doesn't review them along with me. First up, I'm going to talk about Creep, The Creep, number 4 of 4. Great final issue. This was a really fun 4-issue miniseries. You may have remember in past videos I talked about how I thought I knew how this whole thing was going to be and what the mystery was and everything like that. And I was completely wrong. What I thought it was going to be, it absolutely wasn't. Something completely different from that. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, he's given the mystery at the very end. But I'm okay with that because of the way he comes about it. I mean, that's how life works lots of times. You aren't necessarily some genius that can figure out what's going on. Sometimes you just happen to luck out and find the right information that tells you what has happened. I liked it. I liked the way it ended. I like the choices he makes at the ending of this as to how he's going to deal with the discoveries that he's made. I thought they were really interesting. There's one part that kind of ran through this whole book where there's these kids in the neighborhood that kind of call this guy names and stuff because, of course, you know, he's got the degenerative disease that, you know, his face and head continues to grow and is misshapen and stuff. And I'm not 100% sure what that part of the story was about. I mean, other than it's kind of life. I mean, he kind of confronts one of the kids. He runs into one of the kids at one point. And I haven't exactly figured out the meaning behind that, if there was some other meaning behind it simply just being what it was. But that's not a real... the only thing I'd poke at as far as, you know, what was that about and why was it. Everything else in it was excellent. The art was great through this story. It was just really fun. It was a really fun, mystery. And kind of a surprise ending and whatnot. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if they'll ever put this thing out in trade. But it was a fun read. Creep, number 4, Dark Horse Comics. Okay, next I'm going to talk about I Love Trouble, number 1, an Image title. When I ordered this comic, it had a different cover, first and foremost. It had a cover that had a big heart on it and a banner that says I Love Trouble and this girl kicking her heels up on the top of the heart. And I thought it was kind of a fun cover, and I just liked the title of it, I Love Trouble, and thought, okay, this will be... I'll just pre-order it to see what it's going to be like, having no idea. The story, basically, it has to do with this girl here. She is on the run for some reason. She gets in a plane wreck, but she doesn't go down with the plane. She discovers that she has basically superpowers. She can blink herself for one, but she can teleport. And you kind of find out her life history to some degree. She's kind of lived on the rough side of life. There's some quick panels in here that show her, working in a strip joint, getting the tattoos that she has across her, and basically is hanging out with some really bad people. She ends up going back to the place where all this bad stuff was, tries to pay off the people she supposedly, we get the impression that she stole some money from. She pays them 3 times what she owed them. They're suspicious of her, wanted to get some more money for them to pay them off so they won't continue to hunt her down. They're being kind of a crime group, not necessarily like the mafia, something less than that, but something more than just a single person trying to, pimp girls and stuff. They snatch up the boyfriend who knows that she has this power, and basically cause her problems, and they're going to force her to basically do whatever work they want her to do. There is one cool part in here where she goes to a art museum and finds some art. You see her stealing the art, and you think maybe she's stealing the art to fence it or something. No, she's actually stealing these super expensive pieces of art, and she has a wall in her apartment, and she is stapling the pieces of art to that wall, and that's kind of fun. I have some issues with the book. One of the things I think is interesting is I don't know if this is really an issue. They chose to make the book on a rougher paper. It's not gloss, which is kind of interesting. It's tactily interesting. One of my biggest issues with it is, I can even get around the art, because the art's a different style of art. But my problem is the gutters are huge on it. I mean, here's just some look at some of the art. This is the plane going down, and her watching the plane going down as she basically blinks herself out of the plane because she doesn't want to be there anymore, and she's falling. But my issue is, looking for some pages here I can show you that doesn't really give away any real story, is the gutters. See how huge the gutters are? I mean, I have, my fingers are about 6 inches long. That's half my finger in gutter. So the pictures are really small, and the page is not really utilized because the gutters are massive. The top gutter is huge. The bottom gutter is pretty large. Also, kudos for numbering the pages. That's pretty old school. But there's some of the art style, which is different. It's kind of a manga-ish kind of a style, which I don't mind. It's a different way to tell a story, and that's cool. It is sequential art. It does work as far as that goes. But I think all of the art, and here they are in the bad guy's den, so everything's dark and whatnot, and they're creepy and horrible. Mature reader content. Yeah, there she is. There she is with her wall of art. I think it's pretty cool. This is a Clement. It's an actual, I can't remember the title of that one, but that's pretty huge. There's actually also a Thor original page of Thor art stuck up on the wall, which is kind of fun. There's lots of art that she's been stealing. They also make references to X-Men in here. That, hey, you got the bad guys find out she's got superpowers. It's like, oh, hey, you're an X-Men, but more like the comic books, not the movies, because, well, the movies sucked. Well, they were okay. Well, number 2 was fine, the characters say. So, I don't know. And then at the very end, there's somebody else following her that seems to know who she is, and so maybe they have the powers. And there's some implication that the bad guys imply that there has been rumors that there are other people with powers. So, I don't know. It was an okay story. It's not real riveting at this point. I've pre-ordered it through my orders, so I'm committed to 2 or 3 issues. So we'll see where it goes from here. There's nothing really special about it. It's just, like I said, the art and whatnot is a little different. Some of the panels, the paneling and sequential art is kind of cool. Well, the plane's going down. There's little mini panels amongst as the plane's rattling apart. There's mini little panels that kind of show the stuff you read in the pamphlet that tells you, this is where the exits are at in the airplane. This is how you use the oxygen mask and all that kind of stuff. And that's, somewhat fun. Story-wise, though, I'm just not 100% sure. Not really excited by it, I guess. It's interesting, but not riveting. And like I said, I'm just kind of irritated. The fact is we lose almost 4 inches worth of page because of how big the gutters are. And every page is that way. It's not like one page is that way to give us some sort of meaning or something. No, every page. I mean, here's the opening page. It's one panel with these huge, huge, huge gutters. So that's my biggest issue is I'm not getting enough of the art for what I paid for. I'm paying for a bunch of gutters. And so that's kind of annoying. Anybody else out there picking that up? I know that DaCosta DC, I believe he's got it. I haven't really heard him say a whole lot about the book. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's not something that I would tell anybody to go pick up unless that style of art is really your cup of tea. Then go for it. It's not a bad story, but it hasn't given me a lot to go, boy, I'm really excited by this yet. The really only bit of character we've gotten out of our main character is that thing where she's stealing the art and sticking it up on the wall. And then that appeals to me. That's kind of cool. I like that part. Anyway, lastly this time I am going to talk about Nowhere Men #2. I've been kind of showing this book around and talking about it on some of the live hangouts that have been going on. I really like this book. First and foremost, there's not a single ad in the entire book. It's 32 pages. Every single page is comic related to this comic. The closest exception to that is the cover, of course, which has one of our characters on it, and the back, which shows a bunch of ID badges. These ID badges are actually relevant. They're relevant to the guys that are on the space station. And this bottom part down here is the actual credits, kind of like a record album. But this is the credits for the comic, because inside the comic, you open up the first page. Okay, so here's our cover. The inside cover is actual comic book also. It's pure story. This is a sci-fi comic through and through. Nowhere Men, it's basically the tagline for this comic book is science is the new rock and roll. It's about these 4 guys, young guys that have got together. They create World Corp to make the world a better place and also make a lot of money at the same time. It's about them as much older people and what's going on in their lives and their corporate dealings and that sort of thing. And it also has to do with this group that is on this secret satellite that no one knows exists. Well, the people at the head of the corporation know it exists, but normal me and you don't know this satellite is flying around. The people on the satellite have all gotten a virus of some sort, and the virus alters everyone in a different way. This person is making her all inky black and have this webs and whatnot on it. It's cool. Throughout the book, there are ads that have to do with, like, this right here. This is a cover to a magazine called Modern Scientist. And Strange Roads. It talks about Emerson Strange as he embarks on his greatest journey yet. One of the head of the corporation. Here's a kind of a look at the art. The tone of the art is really good. It's clean. It's simple. It has the right hues depending where you're at. If you're in a simple, basic office, it's this kind of blues and whatnot. You get to another guy's office that's kind of rich browns and whatnot. Here's another ad for this is Cyber Optics. The first thing that World Corp did was create cybernetic eyes for people who went blind, so they can now see again. You get on the space station and it's a darker kind of a thing, and as bad things happen, it starts getting more and more red, the red hues, and then it goes into critical mass kind of a thing. I'm not going to show you more of that because that'll spoil the thing. But it also has stuff in it that's kind of like The Watchmen. It has news articles that were written about the guys here, talking about losing one of their members. One of their members quit fairly early on. Inside World Corp, here's this old, and it's got ratty looking to it, so it looks like an old magazine cover, which is pretty cool. And it has this chapter 26, It's All Too Much, an article talking about some of the guys that left, and it's kind of yellowed around the edges like it's an old book, which is pretty cool, I think. And that gives you a huge piece of insight to one of the characters, the history of him, backing out and whatnot. I just think it's a really cool sci-fi comic. It's $2.99, and like I said, $2.99. You're getting 32 pages of story, and there is not a single ad in it. That's the second issue that has been that way. And I just think it's an incredible production to do that and whatnot. I don't know how long they'll maintain it. My understanding is an ongoing. I haven't seen anything that says that it's not. Well, even if it's a miniseries, I think it's pretty excellent. And it's just a cool story. You got these people that are getting off of the satellite, trying to get away off the satellite, because the corporation obviously seemingly is not going to help them. excuse me, the recommendation to some of the WorldCorp people who are planet side is basically to write these people off. Completely forget about them. And if nobody knows they're up there, they're not going to get help. But they find a way to get off the satellite, supposedly. Issue 3, I'm assuming we'll find out exactly how that really worked out for them and whatnot. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. I think it's interesting between the corporate science and machinations that go with corporate society, and then there's also this virus that's affecting these people in numerous ways that is somewhat interesting. Right. Anyway, that's it for this No Capes. I'm sure here in a little bit I'll have another No Capes. This Know I'm In is actually pretty current. I think it was this week that I'm recording this, so you can still get on this if you want to. It's not like my normal stuff where I'm reviewing books that are 2 weeks old. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there with me, and I will catch you on the next one.